go over really quick. Let's go over the new terms for this week. All right, so we've got a few new abbreviations. A with a line over, it can be capital or little letters, like P or C. That means before. And I always remember that because the A is before every other letter of the alphabet, so A is before. A good way to remember that.
I don't get it. Like,
well, remember a lot of these have to do with their Latin term. That's where the abbreviation comes from. So that's why they don't really go necessarily with the English word that means that. Like before, the prefix for before is really like ANT, or anterior means in front of or before. So, or anta means before. So that's where that comes from, is actually that word. We'll learn that word when we get to medical terms next 6 weeks. But Q day, we already know that Q is every, so Q day is every day. BID is twice a day. Anytime that B or BI is usually twice. Like bicycle has how many wheels? Has 2, right? Bilateral, which is on here later on, is 2 sides. TID is 3 times a day. So if you're going to take a medicine 3 times a day, how many hours apart would you take that medicine?
4. What? No.
Okay. How many hours apart? If you take a medicine BID, which is how many times a day? 2 times a day. When would you take that medicine? Morning and evening, right? Every 12 hours. Okay.
So 6 hours?
Not 6.
5, 4.
How many hours are in a day?
3.
24 divided by 3.
8.
8. So TID medicine is generally taken every 8 hours.
I want medicine.
Okay. QID. Q usually means 4, right? Like quad, quarter.
So you take that 4 hours.
No, not every 4 hours. But listen, 4 times a day. So if their day is 24 hours, you would take this every 6 hours. Okay, so don't get in your head a number of hours per se that goes along with that, but it's how many times a day. So if you take it QID, then you would take it 4 times a day, so, which would be every 6 hours. And you got to think of it as quarters, not as number of hours.
Quarters?
Like a quarter of a day.
I was like,
no. So BID is twice a day, TID 3 times a day, QID 4 times a day. Okay. H then is hour. So if it said QH, it would be what?
Every hour.
Every hour. Okay. Or Q4H. Q4H would be?
Q4H.
Q is? Every 4
hours.
There you go.
Oh, I thought you meant like
Okay. So that's our abbreviations. Okay, anatomy is the study of the structures of the body. The literal meaning is to cut apart. Tomy is to cut, or like dissect, and Anna means apart. Renal, pertaining to the kidney. So like renal dialysis, kidney dialysis, renal, all kinds of things. Renal transplants, kidney transplant. There's another medical term that means kidney too, but renal is not. No. Cervical is pertaining to the neck. So that could be your neck, like your cervical spine, or those 7 vertebrae that are in your neck. Or it could be like the neck of something, like the cervix is the neck of the uterus. Buccal is pertaining to the cheek. It's like medicine that you just hold in your cheek until it dissolves. That's
no, I hate that.
Bilateral means pertaining to 2 or both sides. So like bilateral amputations would be both sides. Bilateral, able to move bilaterally, or pulse detected bilaterally. That means they checked it on both sides of the body and it's equal, okay, or it's the same. Unilateral then would be one side. So you can see lateral is side, and uni is one, like a unicycle, one wheel. Okay, so that means, just to give you some other ideas where you can pull this from. Umbilicus is the belly button, like the umbilical cord. Okay. Microscope, we know what a microscope is, an instrument used to observe objects too small to be seen. What are those objects called? Microorganisms. There you go. And then cataracts is a condition in which the lens of the eye becomes really cloudy. You can usually see if somebody's got cataracts, you can tell by their eyes. They kind of have this cloudy haze over them. Yeah. All right, so that's that. Just to let you know, okay, if you look, we have this activity we're gonna do on the computer today. Tomorrow you'll have the day to work on your project. Thursday, we have our test over the history of healthcare. Now this is over your PowerPoint and Paydays, but I'm gonna let you use your PowerPoint. Okay, so you'll be able to use your notes, so make sure you bring them Thursday, otherwise you're not gonna be able to use them. Okay, but you'll have that, but there's still some thought questions on the test. So it's not just gonna be, some of it is kind of just like you take the information and, you know, answer your question according to what you found. But some of it is like things that we discussed during the lecture, things that we, you know, that maybe you took notes on in the lecture and so forth, things to think about. So just know that that is coming. Make sure you bring your hall passes Thursday and turn those in. And then make sure you study your Payday terms. You won't be able to have that. But you can have your history worksheet. So make sure you get that turned in today. Then we have the green ones. Okay, so make sure you bring all that. Make sure you, I should have your worksheet already. Great, in the middle of grading those right now. Okay.